Yeah, interesting, Carl. I think like that, like screen whiteness, you know, and the thinness of that device, thinnest device, that VWoods, the screen whiteness has surprised me there. They really got that right. They really got the screen and they got the technology right in that thing. The hardware is really good on the VWoods, whether or not the software is there. That's why I need to re-review it really, because they have improved things so far. I think this comparison really surprised us actually, because both these tablets, the VWoods AI Paper and the Boox Note Max, have the latest Carta 1300 screen. So that should be the best contrast and the best screen response of any e-ink so far. And I can tell you that blacks look really black here on the Note Max, as they do on the VWoods as well, and that they're both really responsive as well to pen input and touch input. However, what really surprised us was the shade darker that the Note Max is compared to the VWoods. And this is the thing, Antonio, they should be the same, shouldn't they? They're the same underlying e-ink tech, so why aren't they the same? I have been really impressed, by the way, with the standby battery performance of this, because I haven't used this for some time and it just came back with 89%. So it's had weeks on standby and it came back instantly at 89%. So that's pretty impressive. But here you can really see, it's not just the difference in tone, but also, I think the cream color, the warmer gray of the Carta 1300 on the VWoods is nicer than the colder tone of the Boox Max. They both look great here in the natural light, and I don't think that the darkness is an issue on the Note Max at all, unless you need to read in very low light conditions. I'm going to bring in the VWoods next, because that's another Carta 1300. I'm going to revisit the VWoods and the AI Paper Mini, because they deserve another review since an update. They've now got Google Play on them, and one of my criticisms was that it didn't have Google Play and Google services at all, so you couldn't do anything like Google Docs or Google Calendar. Fingerprint's not worked their first time, and because it isn't the most reliable fingerprint reader, must be honest. Carta 1300, again the Carta Flexible. This is the Mobius one, and you can see much lighter. And this is the reason why the VWoods is still in that top 10, because it does have a very good implementation of this latest e-ink screen. So Carta 1300 done really well on here with the Mobius. The same technology at this smaller size is clearly doing better than it is at this larger size. Is the ghosting better or worse on here? I've got 3 modes there, look best and fast and ultra fast. Let's go into fast mode so it doesn't do so many full refreshes. OneNote works on here as well. Yeah, I quite liked using OneNote on here actually. You can see I've been teaching away on it when I had it as my main one for some time. Yeah, I mean, I'm just making the point really here that hopefully you can see the Carta 1300 much lighter on the VWoods than it is on the Note Max. Is this something that surprised you as well? Were you expecting to see that? Have you already noticed that? Is it a deal breaker? Yeah, could it be that the black is blacker so the actual screen is blacker? The materials they've had to use for the screen, like e-ink themselves, not books, is it because the materials they've had to use for the screen has to be stiffer, so it's a different material for this size? That's what I wondered. Interesting, ghosting is worse on a Manta than it is on the A5X. Could the ghosting issues be the new Carta screens? Could be, Aaron, yeah. And it could be that also that's the case now, and as they learn to code for them, all these companies, they get better. No, it's not something, this isn't a deal breaker. It's still, like, compared to e-ink, how e-ink was 5 years ago, it's still quite good. It's not perfect, it's not what I was expecting it to be. So yeah, Carl says disappointed there. Yeah, I think it's the screen layers. One of the biggest reasons I'm surprised by this is that normally this is the Canva, is the glass, is clearer than the Mobius. Normally you would expect a Mobius screen, and the Manta is a Mobius as well. You would expect that Mobius screen to be less clear and therefore darker than the glass one. I think maybe you can possibly just about see that the Manta has a darker screen than the VWoods, even though they're both the Carta 1300. I think that is probably because the Feel Right layer has an extra layer on the screen, essentially probably is making it a little bit less transmittent. Certainly when you bring in the Note Max. Again, look, it doesn't look bad. If I was just showing you this, none of us would be making this point. None of us would be talking about it. It's a case though for the VWoods, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's something to be aware of, isn't it, at this point? So an interesting one. And Jack says, yeah, look, it is certainly darker across here on the Note Max, just from seeing it there. Yeah, I'm going to look at the Note Air 4C, and now you'll see the real difference between something that is a dark screen and possibly is too dark a screen to use without a front light. And let's not forget the Boox Note Max has no front light, and they could possibly have not had this issue at all by adding a front light, but then it would be thicker and you wouldn't have the really nice close distance between the top surface and the screen. Now I must say as well, even though it's glass, having written on it for some time already, I find it to be a comfortable screen use there as well. It does have a textured top surface, but the glass just means that overall that surface is stiffer and a little bit less forgiving. The VWoods is plastic, but neither of them get close to the actual amazing writing feel of the Supernote, combining that great texture with that plastic, so it's really soft feel, and the ceramic nib. So as you can tell, the VWoods came off pretty strongly in that comparison there, and I think we're all a little bit surprised. It's kind of the sleeper of the bunch, and yeah, that's why it's maintained its place in my top 10. It's by no means perfect, but a device that is as thin as I think a tablet could be at this point, with the latest e-ink screen, with Wacom EMR technology. There's a lot to like here, and there is still promise with this device. So let me know what you think in the comments about the VWoods versus the Note Max. Which would you go for? And if you are keen to see my latest top 10, to know where the VWoods sits against all of the other e-ink tablets that you can buy right now, then check out this video here, and I'll justify why I think the VWoods is clinging onto that spot.